need to let the contractor bid the project before we can be accurate, which is the most important thing I want to be in this project, communication.
Gotcha.
About what that looks like. When we meet with business and property owners at the end of April, I will expect the contractor to put a timeline up here and say, here's what the plan is, and everything looks great until we discover an unknown fuel tank in the middle of Main Street, and now we've got to adjust. And that's where we come in to communicate about how things have shifted and changed. So we certainly enter the project with as much information, as much accurate information as we can, and keep people updated as it changes.
Awesome. Thank you.
So from a communication standpoint and with your experience doing this kind of thing, is there any benefit in putting something out now saying what the plan is as far as we're going to enter into getting bids? I totally appreciate the need for accuracy and that there's been some sensitivity about we don't want to put anything out until we have all of the facts, but I'm also just hearing people, the more communication you can do, even if at this point we're just saying we are now at this point, and we will keep you informed as we go, if there would be some benefit to that.
Yeah, I think that goes back to the mailer that we have teed up to go out here, hopefully by the end of the week. That would go out in a snail mail to all property and business owners from whom we pulled that data out of the City of Pullman's GIS system, as well as the business licensing system. So if an individual is operating in downtown Pullman without a business license, we didn't catch them, just as an aside. And then we will also share it on the project website, as well as email it out to everyone we have contact info for. And that, I believe it's about a page and a half letter that very much summarizes everything I've shared here.
Courtney, we'll get a copy of that letter as well. Is that?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Moving right along.
Thank you.
And this is our last slide. So I touched on this a little bit earlier already, but the tentative schedule, and it's very general at this point. Bid advertisement, late March. Contract award at your final council meeting in April. Contractor mobilizes to the site in mid-May. Construction goes from, say, middle of May through October. So it's a lengthy construction season. We were very, very hopeful that we could be done by September 1, but after talking with contractors in the industry, asking for their honest assessment about how long this will take, we realized if we screw the contractor down too much, we either won't get bids or the bids will be off the charts and unaffordable. And so it's this delicate balance between, because all of our goal is the same. We want the contractor to get the work done and then get out of town, right? So, because we're fully aware the reason we're doing this is for the businesses, and the last thing we want is bad things to happen. But we need to give the contractor, we need to provide as much access and flexibility to business as possible, but we also need to provide the contractor a site to which they can work within, right? So it's this balance. And we think that we're finding that appropriate balance by mid-May to end of October for the scope of Main Street. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Do you anticipate, particularly during September and October, when we have home football game weekends, that the contractors would be able to flex a little bit as far as Fridays, Thursdays and Fridays maybe, to sort of just back off a little bit to open things up? Or will Main Street really not even be open at that point?
I certainly wouldn't make any guarantees at this point. It would be unlikely that they would be able to open it up to traffic and then close it to traffic again. Okay. That's pretty disruptive right there, just opening and closing. That said, if there are other things where more of the sidewalks open as they get closer, certainly that would be appropriate.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions for us?
Well, thank you for the update on that.
Okay.
I think everybody would like to have specifics, but we know we're not there yet until you get the bids out, and then we can get going on this thing as quickly
Yes,
as
sir.
possible.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. Thank you very much for that report. And again, the reason why Welch Comer was selected in the first place, they have a great experience in working with other cities through similar projects like this. So thank you again. With that, our next item on the agenda is public comment, and public comment is only on any final action the City Council will take tonight, and that is in view of the items that we have under the regular agenda. Is there anyone who would like to make any public comment on any final action the City Council is going to take tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item, which, pardon? Are you making comment on final action? Final action is under the regular agenda tonight. We're not making comments on the Welch Comer presentation. We're talking about only final action the City Council is taking tonight in a regular agenda. You have other opportunities to interact with Welch Comer, and you also have a steering committee that meets with that on a regular basis. Okay? Because we're not this is not public testimony tonight on the Welch Comer president. You can talk to them directly, and they can meet you outside right now. But we need to keep moving on the City Council agenda tonight. So the next item is consent agenda. These items are considered routine in nature. Council's had a chance to study these ahead of time. Do I hear a motion to read by title only?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With that, Thad, please go through our consent agenda.
Okay, the first item is a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of January 31st, 2023, and approve them as submitted. Second item is a motion to approve disbursements for accounts payable checks numbered 109311 through 109355, and replace check number 108418 with check number 109310 totaling $443,665.09. Item 3 is a motion to approve disbursements for utility billing refund check numbered 109357 and replace check number 109228 with check number 109356 totaling $762.29. Item 4 is a motion to approve disbursements for accounts payable checks numbered 109358 through 109430 totaling $580,690.85. Item number 5 is a motion to approve disbursements for accounts payable checks numbered 109431 through 109449. Electronic transfers 97, 98, 963, and 969 through 974. Payroll direct deposits numbered 82903 through 83248, totaling $1,514,320.47. Item 6 is a motion to approve disbursements for accounts payable checks numbered 109450 through 10953.
Public Works Director.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, City Council. I have just a few slides here to run through tonight. Contract 21-08 consists of the construction of a new water reservoir for the city's water system. The new tank will have a capacity of 1.2 million gallons, be 50 feet in diameter and 91.5 feet tall. And you can kind of see a depiction of that tank there on the slide. The new tank, excuse me, the new tank will serve the northeast high pressure zone of the city's water system. And I've shown the location of that tank here, the red asterisk on the screen here. So this is up in apartment land. Terraview's here, Merman Drive, and then Skyview Drive. So it's at the end of Skyview Drive. And as we zoom into that project location, You'll see here the red circle depicts the location of the new tank. The blue polygon behind it is the city parcel we recently acquired. And you'll also see to the east, there's an existing water tank number 8. And the new tank is needed to increase storage in this pressure zone, and it will also address marginal pressures on the upper reaches of this zone. The new tank will be 18 feet taller than the tank 8 next to it. And some modifications to the existing tank 8 will be necessary, and they're included in the project, and that's for operation reasons. Bids were opened January 31st, and we received 2 bids. The low bidder is T. Bailey Incorporated, and they're from Anacortes, Washington. You can see their bid total there, which is about 5.8% below our engineer's estimate. And quickly here, in closing, the project is included in our capital improvement program and in our budget. Funding would come from the capital projects budget of the utility fund. And if council authorizes award of the project, work would begin this spring with completion scheduled for October of 2024. Staff is seeking council authorization to award the project to T. Bailey, and I would take any questions.
Any questions or any comments? With that, do I hear a motion on this resolution?
Move to adopt resolution R6-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Thad, do you want to read the resolution, please?
Yes, sir. Resolution number R-6-23, a resolution accepting the bid of T. Bailey, Inc. for the Tank 12 project and authorizing execution and delivery of the contract for said project.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We now move to
Thank
resolution
you.
R-723, adopting a fee schedule for community development applications. R.J. Lott.
Thank you once again, Mayor, and good evening, City Council. Before you this evening is an update to the city's fee schedule relating to 3 titles in the Pullman City Code. Title 13 relating to subdivisions, short plats, and boundary line adjustments. Title 16 related to our shoreline master plan and SEPA process. And Title 17, which relates to our zoning designations. So I'll go through these slides quickly. I know it's been a long evening, and then we'll take some questions if you have any. So all of these slides are formatted pretty much the same. The top line on each column is our current fee. The second line on each column is our proposed fee. And then below that are comparable Eastern Washington cities, such as Richland, Moses Lake, Wenatchee, and Walla Walla. So for a conditional use permit, we'll start with the first one here quickly. We currently charge $250. Spokane, as you can see, is much, much higher. Moses Lake, about 4 to 5 times higher. Walla Walla, twice as much. So when we look at our current fees compared to our proposed, we're trying to keep Pullman to a competitive advantage, meanwhile, while not increasing barriers for development. So we're looking at these new fees and updating our current fee schedule, which dates back to 1999 and 2002. So they're quite old fees, and they're really, honestly, out of date. So one of the new fees that we have is the first column for site plan review. This is for all developments, excluding single-family homes and duplexes. We currently do not charge, but we will start at $250, and you can see comparable cities on those items as well. Planned unit development from 500 to 1,000, and then sign permits on the far right. If I'm going through these too quickly, please let me know. Environmental review, flood development would go from 35 to 70. SEPA review would go from 150 to 300, and you can see comparable cities and what they charge. So we're really in line with what other cities in our region charge, once again. Shoreline development permit from 150 to 300, still the lowest in that column. Ellensburg is not applicable because they don't have any shorelines within their city limits. Conditional use from 250 to 500, once again, pretty much the lowest in the column still, even with the increase, the shoreline variance and the shoreline exception. We get to land division, this is Title 13. Short plats go from $250 to $500, and you can see what other cities charge there as well. Preliminary subdivisions from $500 to $1,000, plus $30 a lot. You can see that Spokane is still 4 to 5 times more expensive than the proposed fees. And then the far right column, once again, the final subdivision fees. Now, keep in mind that these fees don't pay for staff time. Staff time does vary on each application, but this is really just a fee that covers the initial application. Once again, doesn't cover the total staff time. So when we compare these to other cities, it's not quite apples to apples, but across the board, it's similar. And if you do want to take a look at each of these cities' fee schedules, they are attached here. And you can click on these and go straight to them. Any questions? The last comment I do have, I guess, before questions. The proposed fees, I'm suggesting that they start April 1st, giving anybody who may be in the process of putting together a development application time to adjust if they choose to submit after the April 1st deadline, so that we're not surprising anybody with fees starting tomorrow or next week. Any questions?
Okay, Pat?
That was actually in relation to my question, RJ, and that is, have any of the developers that you work with a lot, are any of them aware that this is pending?
No.
Okay.
So we would take the next 4 weeks, the next month, till April 1st to help spread that word so that everyone's in the know. I think most developers, from conversations with them, understand that our fees are quite low, especially dating back to 99 and 2002. That's 20 plus years old. So I don't think these new fees, once again, are going to prohibit any new development, but we just don't, quite honestly, want to catch anybody off guard. So we'll
Exactly.
spread that word best we can.
Exactly. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? If not, do I hear a motion on this resolution?
Second.
Moving second, Thad?
Resolution number R-7-23, a resolution adopting a fee schedule for community development applications and review effective April 1, 2023.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 3, a motion authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with ADP for payroll services. Mike Urban.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council. And this is a contract for payroll services and other associated services, including regular payroll taxes, W-2s, and those types of items. I should have clarified that more in the subject line. But as part of the 2023-24 budget, the Finance Department did include this as a request for funding. What we're finding is that staff time spent on payroll is really bogging us down and keeping them away from doing other projects and other items. And so when we looked for solutions, we looked at adding staff, we looked at external third-party partners, and that's where ADP comes along, and looked at a couple different services for this. And so what we found with ADP, it was the most cost-effective way to alleviate some of this pressure on getting some work done on our payroll and being able to turn that staff time back around into projects and other finance items that could get done. And the other advantage of going along with ADP is to just provide some more robust services, a lot more self-service for staff. If they need a copy of their W-2, being able to jump in and grab that at any point without having to reach out to our folks. The other piece that does is it frees up some of our staff time to slow down the cross-training on that particular piece. So when our payroll specialists are gone or sick during a payroll period, it's a mad scramble to find people that are trained, and we can keep the things going, because the last thing we want is on the payroll day not to have those checks deposited. So it provides a little more flexibility to train in other areas as well, because we're finding that payroll is a really honed specialty, and it's very it's hard to pick up additional training on other things when you have to be so focused on payroll all the time. So instead of bringing on extra staff, we were recommending the ADP contract through Omnia Partners, which is a buying collective. Just so happens Omnia is the one with ADP. And so we haven't used Omnia on the finance side. IT uses them quite a bit for CDW. So we just double checked to make sure that their procurement of the ADP contract did meet our procure policy, which it has. And so with that, we're recommending that you allow the mayor to enter into an agreement with ADP, and we'll start rolling this out. It'll be about a 3 to 6 month rollout, and for staff using it, it's going to be very similar, just a little different interface for entering hours. The process will remain the same.
Council, remember a number of years ago that we decided to, let's have another outfit take care of our sewer and water bills, and that has been quite effective.
And ambulance billing.
And ambulance billing, and all those things. And this is another way of saving our staff and making sure that we have a reliable service and one that's been checked out. Other questions or comments? Yes, Ann.
I would just say that I've had experience doing payroll for a very small organization, and it is a hugely time-consuming. And the value of an organization like ADP is also the tax reporting and the tax preparation, the W-2s. I can't say enough about payroll services, and truly time that they save the employees so that they can be more effective in other areas.
Okay. With that, do I hear a motion on this?
Move to authorize the mayor to enter into a contract with ADP for payroll services.
Second.
Moving second, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you, Council.
Item number 4 is City Council action on tourism promotion, marketing, and event coordination for the City of Pullman. Once again, Mike Urban.
Thank you. Back from our meeting on January 31st, where Council approved a 60-day retroactive contract for tourism services, so that wouldn't be discontinued with the Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber has put together a contract and a request through the LTAC for tourism that was received timely, and other than City Council being in Olympia on the date of their normal meeting, the Lodging Tax Committee held a special meeting on the 21st to discuss and take action on the grant request. Unfortunately, due to our own city code, as you see listed in here, the LTAC was able to provide a recommendation via vote due to the fact that members had to recuse themselves on the representation of both the LTAC and being on the Chamber of Commerce Board. And currently, we do not expect to see that get any better unless council members or chamber board members resign. We don't see that happening. So we're moving this forward to you without recommendation, unfortunately, for the LTAC for your discussion. But attached, you will see the original request with the grant pages on that, and the second document you have in there is the full contract, including the signature page, and that has been signed by the Chamber of Commerce. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Comments? Okay, Megan, you get first.
So Mike, I don't know if you can answer this, but I guess my question is really more around where are metrics appropriate for measuring the success of this provider in terms of what we're asking them to do? Is that something that's built into a process? I mean, it probably doesn't belong in a contract, but I just wanted some assurance that the LTAC is thinking about that and talking about that, and there is a process for that measurement, and metrics have been established.
The LTAC will be charged with monitoring this contract through the Economic Development Director, looking at those metrics and making sure as the metrics are developed, making sure that those are hit.
Ann.
And it's my understanding as well, in conversation with some people, that there'll actually be I don't know if the committee's the right word, but a group who who will look at these metrics, and it'll include members from the city as well as members from the LTAC committee. So there's going to be, I mean, that's an idea that they're proposing, is to make it an actual formal.
I haven't heard that yet, but I think once the LTAC does have those metrics, I don't know if a presentation or a memo or some sort of communication with the council would be probably appropriate.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Nathan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This question isn't going to earn me any friends, but I've been asked it, so I'm going to ask. There's been some questions about advertising outside of the city. I see the region, I totally agree with that, but certain events like in Seattle for Kooks First and things like that, is that something that's, I mean, I don't really know how to even determine metrics for that. If it helps, I'm asking it because somebody asked me to ask it, and a community member asked me to, and I think it's important for us to kind of understand what is that role.
As far as the document presented goes,
Yeah.
I would expect that represents the plan that they think can be most successful and generate more hotel stays in Pullman, and that is something that'll probably need to be analyzed through those metrics as they're allowed to go deploy their program as they presented.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Megan is okay with it, and then we'll go to Eileen.
So just picking up on what you said in terms of a progress report or a report from the LTAC, I would really like to see that happen, for that committee to come back to the council and inform us as far as metrics that have been established and what is their plan for measuring that.
Sure, there is a tourism report that is already produced once a month, and I just, in my mind, and I don't know if this is wrong or otherwise, but I just expect that tourism report to either be beefed up or look a little different, or basically those additional metrics. I don't know if some will drop off, but I think that that's the place where that would happen. But some sort of explanation as what metrics were added is probably in line if that's the council's request.
Yeah, I guess just more communication on something that's important and has gone through such a process, and just like we have DPA and various groups come to us in terms of their progress. This is a partnership, and so I'd like more communication and accountability.
Okay. Eileen?
Yeah, sort of building on what Megan has said. Yeah, I don't know how I could move forward on this without some of those things that Megan has mentioned. We've gone around and around about this, and at this point, it just seems vague and baffling, and without a recommendation from LTAC. Yeah, I don't know if on a short term we could put an addendum on something to make these metrics clearer, or if that's within the scope or something to that nature. But yeah, I'm not. It's just a little kind of floaty out there.
Sure, I'd be happy to relay some of this, and certainly if there's specific metrics that you're looking for, if you can let me know what those are, I can pass those up.
Okay. Becky?
As a member of the LTAC, it's impossible for us to create metrics for something that does not yet exist. What we're doing tonight is considering making that exist, having this contract. I hear your comments. I'm happy to take them back to LTAC myself. And I feel quite confident in our ability to create those metrics. The reason it's coming before you without a recommendation from LTAC has nothing to do with LTAC's opinion about the contract. It's coming to you that way because we did not have enough members, didn't have a conflict of interest to vote on it, to carry it through. So that's why it's coming to you this way. I understand this has been a very complicated and process that a lot of people have put, maybe not blood, but sweat and tears into. And I feel confident in LTAC's ability to create those metrics. If you'd like to hear back about those, I don't think LTAC would have a problem with that.
And two, there is a clause in here that if it isn't working out, that we could end the contract.
Yeah, it's in that contract, yeah. And I think, was it 60 days notice or?
120.
120. Any other comments? With that, we'll entertain a motion.
Moved.
Okay,
Second.
moving second. And that is, again, the city council action on the tourism, moving second to get this contract. At this point, we'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Recused?
Aye.
Okay, there's 2 recused. And again, on the vote, we had 1, 2, 3, 4.
4, 1,
1 opposed.
2.
So matter passed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time on that. And thank you, LTAC, for a lot of hard work on this as well. Is there any new business to come before the council tonight? Seeing none, we'll then go into executive session. Pursuant to, and I'll go through a number of different things that we're going to be doing in executive session. To consider the selection of a site or acquisition of real estate by lease or purchase when public knowledge regarding such consideration could cause a likelihood of increased price. To discuss with legal counsel representing the city matters relating to an agency enforcement action, or to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency of potential litigation, or litigation that has been specifically threatened to which the agency, governing body, or member acting in the official capacity is or likely to become a party, or litigation that the agency reasonably believes may be commenced by or against the agency, the governing body, or a member acting in the official capacity, or litigation on legal risks of a proposed action or current practice that the agency has identified when public discussion of litigation or legal risk is likely to result in adverse legal or financial consequence to the agency. I believe I have covered all of that. The executive session is expected to last approximately 20 minutes. If it becomes necessary to extend, we will so announce. The council does not anticipate any action afterwards. Council may take action following this executive session. May. We start with 20 minutes. It is now 9:20. We will start at 9:25 in executive session.
City Council is extending the executive session for 5 minutes. That's 5 minutes. Anticipated end time 9:50 PM. City Council is extending their executive session for 5 minutes, 5 more minutes. That will be 9:55 PM.
taking action? Oh, got it. Wherever that, who has that piece of paper? Resuming the city council meeting at 9:55 after several additions to our executive session. We have a motion to read.
So I move that the council authorize Robert Rembert, the attorney for the Pullman-Moscow Regional Airport, to act on behalf of the city of Pullman for the purposes of demanding arbitration and/or initial litigation against any and all parties determined to be admissible related to access to airport property generally south of the airport runway by way of SR 270.
That's the motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Hear a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting is adjourned at 9:56.